There you go.
There you are.
All right. You can hear me now?
Did you just leave Geo's at the same time? Was that what fixed it?
No, I was just here. I left Geo's and came here, and then all of a sudden, no one could hear me.
Yeah, perfect now.
Must be that university Wi-Fi.
I'm telling you. I can't even get on it, man. I told Shane.
He's hijacking
my account's
Wendy's.
all fucked up.
It's probably because they know you're talking.
If you want to do an official debate thing, like I said, I can do that same time next week. I should have this crap worked out. But yeah, we can talk for a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah, let's try to do like just vocal back and forth between you and XL, right? How about an opening statement, if you would, on why you think evolution is real?
Yeah, an opening statement. Yeah, so I'm J Ace. Obviously, I'm representing the evolution is real side. And the reason I think that is it has a lot to do with the work that I do and the evidence that I've seen. And I haven't heard convincing arguments against it, I guess. That's it.
12 seconds. Nice. All right, XO. I was going to do 3 minutes. But yeah, you want to do your opening statement?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, guys? Most of you know me. We don't really need to do an intro. I'll make this real simple. Satan is the god of this world. And about 6,000 years ago, he went to this nice lady named Eve, and he said, hey, listen, if you eat this fruit on the tree, you can be as gods. And that was the first time evolution was ever taught. And there's nothing new under the sun, and men have the fantasy of this ridiculous religion still to this day. It's just an imagined fantasy with ad hoc presuppositional religious beliefs and completely ridiculous psychotic notations and assumptions to simply believe in something to hide from the creator. There is no mystery and there is nothing new under the sun. There also is no evidence for evolution. It's something that when people who believe in evolution are usually the best evidence against evolution, because not only can they not define it properly, guaranteed, they can't even give you an example of adaptation in nature, let alone evolution. And as soon as you ask them for something, they'll give you something that has to do with man manipulating something, such as nylon ace and a factory, or something that men have manipulated. They usually won't even attempt to give you evidence for this religion. It is a self-contradictory paradox that almost doesn't even need to be discussed, because the evolutionist himself can't even make a claim for evidence. What do I mean by that? I mean that every time he tries to give you evidence for evolution, he will give you evidence that evolution is impossible. Guaranteed. Thanks.
Nice, short and sweet, man. So you guys want to do like general open back and forth, and if we need to, we can do like 30-second mute the other one if you guys get rough. That cool?
Yeah, let's see how it goes. We'll see how it evolves. Go right ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so what do you want to have a back and forth about?
Well, it's really going to be pretty simple, because, again, there is no claim for real evidence of evolution anyway. The term itself can be used 2 different ways. One way, we can talk about the development of things, like I was explaining the other day or earlier to somebody, when I used to play guitar. I don't do it too much anymore, but as a child, when I play guitar, my skin would get calluses on my fingers, right? That's a form of evolution, right? Let's look at the way music has changed over the years. Mozart and Paganini are pretty good musicians. They have evolved, right? Music evolves, things in social constructs evolve, or you can claim that they de-evolve. But those terms, of course, the way that word is used has nothing to do with biological evolution. So we first must separate these terms, because people can get very confused, and they'll end up saying that evolution just means change. And no, that's incorrect, because sometimes change means it stays the same, such as going from a wolf to a chihuahua has a lot of drastic changes, and that's still the exact same kind. And of course, that'll lead to the evolutionists going, what do you mean by kind? Because they don't know what basic terminology it even is, because of the pseudo terminology that has been invented, such as kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus, species, which there are really none of those. There's only a mankind and an animal kind or a beast kingdom. Past that, those terms are pretty much fictitious. Everybody knows that cats come from kittens and that those cats will only make kittens. That is a kind. Even if the cat or kittens lose the ability to reproduce, it's still the same kind. If I lose the ability to reproduce, I'm still a man. So again, there is no claim for evolution. That's why there's really no way to even discuss it, because again, I will prove that the evolutionist himself will disprove his own evolution belief system. So first, let's get some definitions if you want to go there.
Sure, I guess. Right. So when I usually use the term evolution in here, talked about, right, we're talking about the changes in allele frequencies over in a population, not just in individuals, over multiple generations, right? So that's kind of like the standard definition that's given often.
Well, like my prediction I made earlier, I am correct. A change in allele frequencies means dogs make puppies and cats make kittens and bears make cubs. That doesn't ever lead into a different new kind of animal. That means it stays the same. Like I have allele frequencies from my mom and my dad. The new combination is the change. From my mother, I have half from her. That's a combination. Half from my father. The new combination means I am now still a man with a new combination. So a change in allele frequencies is the opposite of evolution. That guarantees it stays the same because it already has to function on something called a gene pool. And of course, most people know that it's called a gene pool because it can't go outside of the gene pool. So the real definition of evolution would be here. If I could just turn my camera on. Video chat is not available in this room, Shane. It worked earlier.
Oh, we passed over 25 people. Discord shuts it off automatically. That's a pain in the ass.
Well, I guess you'll just have to trust my speech then. This is my Tabor's medical encyclopedia, and I bet all of us are going to trust the medical system. So this is pretty much the standard that we have to use. If you break your leg, I guarantee you're going to the doctor, right? So let's just see what it says. Evolution. A process of orderly and gradual change or development. More generally, any orderly and gradual process of modification whereby a system, whether physical, chemical, social, intellectual, becomes more highly organized. And that's just one. There's a few different ones, like, getting, development of calluses on your skin or becoming stronger, lifting weights or, going out and becoming a triathlon leader. You can develop and become stronger. You can become better, faster. That's a form of evolution or adaptation. However, that still has nothing to do with the idea, which is called the theory of. And that's why in the medical encyclopedia, it has right underneath there, it says right here, echo, theory of, which is different from the word. So the word evolution and the theory of evolution are two different things. The theory of is the theory that all species of plants and animals, including humans, have come into existence by gradual continuous change from earlier forms. Then it says, see natural selection. So it actually now wants me to go to find the different term called natural selection. So this actually goes a little bit deeper because it's a complicated religious belief system. They can't just give you one definition. So let's go to the natural selection part of this dictionary and see what it says. Here's natural selection. I got lucky, turned to the right page. Here it is. A mechanism of evolution proposed by Charles Darwin, which is not really true. We know that these ideas have been around for much longer than Mr. Darwin. It states that the tendency for survival and reproduction of organisms is most likely to occur in those who are best, here's the key word, I want you to remember this, adapted to their environment. Well, we got a problem here, because natural selection can be true. Let's hypothesize and let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and say natural selection is true. The problem is it's called natural selection, not natural addition. So it can select by removing things. It can remove ill cats or ill puppies or ill birds or ill finches or finches that just get caught wrong place at the wrong time when Mike's out there shooting a shotgun off. And that's it. You can't add to a gene pool, you can only take away. So even if natural selection is true, even natural selection in reality, by proxy or necessary antecedent, disproves evolution. So if something is naturally selected out, that means it's removed, and that means the ones that, here's the key word, already have the ability to survive will continue to now survive. That means that the cat that wasn't the strongest, that just actually survived because it didn't go hunting that day and didn't go to Mike's farm and attack his chickens and get shot because it was a panther or whatever. The one that stayed back actually because it didn't do something stupid and found out the hard way, you know, that one survived. Whatever one survives is the one that's going to reproduce, right? Because if something doesn't survive, right, if something doesn't meet the maturity to reproduce because it didn't already have the ability, it's not going to reproduce. That means that everything stays the same. No matter how much change you'll get within that gene pool, you can only remove the ones that don't survive, rather it be by accident or rather it be by man-made intelligence or interference, or because it just wasn't good enough. No matter what the reason, both possibilities. Did you know there's only two possibilities? Either something already has the ability to survive or it doesn't. Both possibilities eliminate adaptation, let alone evolution. And the reason why I stress this word is because even most Christians still are confused and think there's such thing as adaptation when there is not. Adaptation and evolution are synonyms when it comes to biology. And this is part of the great deception.
Whoa.
If we had an example, we'd talk about it. Go ahead.
If we could let Jace get a couple words, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, some of that I certainly agree with. Some of the definitions, at least you described the process kind of semi well, that I'll agree with. You kind of started with the whole Lamarckian evolution thing, where like you can get calluses on your hands and get stronger when you work out and stuff, right? That was kind of an older idea about how evolution worked, and it's not really the modern thinking. It's more about populations, because then you got into like the modern definition of how populations can evolve, how you have these heritable characteristics. Some of them allow the organism to benefit and pass on its genes. Some of them give it a disadvantage, and even in those cases, it doesn't necessarily just prevent the organism from reproducing, but some of them will. And so you have these populations that are getting these beneficial mutations that are helping them survive and pass on their genes. But like we're still, I feel like where the hang up is, we kind of agree on that kind of thing. I feel like that the hang up is how far that extends. Like, is it just within the population? How much can a population really change? I think you might agree that that's where our disagreements probably comes in.
Well, like I predicted, there's still no claim for evolution. No one's heard you even give an example of it. It's just something in your imagination, because all examples disprove evolution in reality. So when we look at reality, a farmer knows that the cows are only going to make cows no matter how drastic. Even if the gene pool is manipulated, the successful offspring of the bovine is going to always stay bovine no matter how much the mutation is. Even if it has a drastic mutation, no matter how you mix up the genes, even if you add or take away chromosomes, it's still 100% always bovine. Just like in people, when people have a genetic defect, such as something called a mutation like Angelman syndrome or Down syndrome, right? These are problems that cause children with disabilities that I worked with, or something like alpha thalassemia, mental retardation. These are problems within a genetic pool, but even with the drastic change, it means that it still is going to be guaranteed to stay in the same gene pool, which eliminates any possibility of adaptation, let alone evolution, because the antecedent to life, necessary antecedent, means something has to already, that means from the beginning, that means before it tries, it has to already have the ability to survive, or the other option is it does not survive. So both options eliminate any form of adaptation, let alone evolution. That's why there won't even be a claim for evolution. Every time someone mentions evolution, it will be a claim for the already necessary antecedent of the reproduction system already being fully functional. That's why it will continue to stay the same. There will be no evolution, no matter what, period.
All right. Well, I don't know. You apparently want me to make a claim. You're making a lot of claims, but I mean, we could start with something like bioanthropology, and we could start at the split where the lineage that led to chimpanzees split from ours. We look at the morphology of species like Sahelanthropus tchadensis and Aurorantuganensis, and then that goes through to the Ardipithecus. So those ones have adaptations where we see from their predecessors that the foramen magnum, the hole in your skull, is moving forwards all the way through Ardipithecus, where it's no longer in the back of the skull at an angle like it is in chimps and monkeys and things like that. It's now at the center of the skull because it needs to support an upright posture. We can see things like the tibia in those species where they're no longer angled splayed to the outside like in chimps and monkeys, but they're actually angled inwards because the organism is moving upright. It's standing on 2 feet. So it doesn't make any sense. If you watch a chimp walk, it has a weird gait. That's why they don't always walk bipedally, because it's kind of awkward for them to do. Whereas these species could be obligate bipeds because they have those adaptations that make it comfortable to do that. And that progresses all the way through Ardipithecines to the Australopiths to the Paranthropines all the way to our genus, where we start to really see the human mutations of our brain size increasing and our the cooperation amongst our communities and organizing hunts using fire, things like that.
Do you imagine this? Is this something you imagine?
No. These are all things that are observed that we have evidence for.
When have you observed them?
Yeah, you can observe them in archaeological sites, paleoanthropology sites, dig up fossils, dig up sites where these things were living with their tools and their fossils that are found there.
Well, that's not observing them. Those are systems that already exist, and then you're imagining them developing. That's just the imagination of evolution. None of that is evidence. None of that is a claim for evolution. That is your religious belief system that you have in your imagination. You have never seen any of that. That's what I'm talking about, is that you prove my point that evolution is something that's within your imagination. No one's ever seen or witnessed or tested any of that. You just imagine. Everybody already sees the fully functioning chimpanzee. The chimp can't even make a gorilla or a different kind of monkey. It stays a chimp. The chimpanzee cannot go outside of his gene pool. That's what all of observations have depended on, that fact. It's a necessary antecedent again. That means chimps have to come from already existing chimps. You imagine that they develop from non-chimps. You imagine these other circumstances because you have to, because evolution is an imagination religion. You have no evidence for any of that. It's just what you'll continue to imagine, which proves my point.
Well, no, it's just what you find at these sites, and it paints the picture. You can see that these species are having these adaptations, and from species in the past leading to today,
you imagine
it leads from their body morphology, going from a more monkey-like morphology to a more human-like morphology.
That's what you imagine.
And
you're still just imagining it. Yeah.
Talking about the gene pool, there's genetic studies that I've seen and that show that Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis, they had an original Y chromosome just like we did, but they had a interbreeding event with Homo sapiens, our species, and the gene flow from our species to theirs completely got rid of their Y chromosome. They took on our Y chromosome. And the same is reversed for a gene that's involved in the immune system in humans. We completely lost a gene that provided a function in our immune system, and we gained one from an interbreeding event with a Neanderthal population that gave us a better immune system. So saying that these gene flow things don't occur, it's not really true.
Everything you just said that was in your imagination or told you from somebody else's imagination. That's why you won't be able to cite any evidence for any of those imagined religious premises. It's just in your imagination. They can't get DNA from bones like that anyway. That's already been proven. Even in the red blood cells that they found inside the Tyrannosaurus that Mary Schweitzer broke open 20 years ago, they really couldn't get the DNA out of that, and they still had malleable tissue. So all of that is just in your imagination. That's why you have to imagine this religion and believe other people's imagination. You can't even attempt to cite evidence for that. It's that easy.
Well, I can just do the sequencing myself, but if you want, I mean, I can go
that was no, you can't. That's hilarious. No, now you're starting to have some sort of breakdown because you've never done anything like that. That's again in your imagination. You can't do anything. You're just making stuff up now.
My job, but you can.
Yeah, you're just making stuff up now. You've never done anything like that. Sorry, you've never taken a Neanderthal bone and gotten any DNA from it. You're starting to lose your mind. You've never done that.
I mean, you can just deny it, bro. But
so you've never done it. That's my point. You've never done it. You're losing your mind now. That's the point. You've just lost your mind. You've never done anything like that. You've never known anybody to do it. You're just saying this because it's your religion. That's all. You've never done it. You never will do it.
You can just keep saying that, but
that's the point. You've never done it. No. The reality is you've never done it. Have you done it? No, you've never done it. It's that simple. Exactly. So just making stuff right. So there you go. You've never done it. Right, because now you're just making stuff up now. Yes. You've never done it. You're just making stuff up now. So I guess the conversation's over. You're just making shit up. It's fine.
So do you have an experiment or something that you published?
Yeah, you've never done it. I'm not here to play games. If you haven't done it, don't make the claim. It's called a lie. It's that simple. You've never done it.
Yeah, I never claimed that I did that specifically.
You said you could do it. You said you were going to do it. No, you said you're going to do it, which is psychotic. You can't even tell me one name of someone that's done it. It's never been done. Give me the name of the guy that's done it. You can't.
Keep talking over me.
You can't. That's the point. No, you've already lied. It's too late. You can't do it. You can't name the person that's done it. You just made up stuff. You're just lying. I guess this conversation's over. No, this conversation's over.
Back and forth. No,
he's already lied. That's the point. Is that in order to believe in evolution, you have to make shit up and perpetually lie, like he's done. There's no such thing. No one's ever done that. He's just making shit up. The conversation's pretty much over. It's that easy.
I don't know, man. You seem a bit angry.
Well, yeah, because you're spreading a child-abuse religion. You're just making stuff up, and it's being promoted to teach children this crap when you have no evidence for it. You're just religiously mantraizing this. You're using a mantra and saying things to justify this belief system. It's fine what you want to believe, but as soon as you start lying, that proves the psychosis and the evil nature of this religion, where you just have to make stuff up in order to justify it. If you were honest and actually cared about truth, you would say, oh yeah, maybe I should look into that to see who's done that. But no one ever has. There's no such thing. No one's ever gotten DNA from dried up bones. They can't even get it from soft tissue if it's over 5,000 years old. So you're just making stuff up. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, I'm not, though, because I've seen the studies. I can provide them for you.
You've never seen any evidence at all. You can't even name it. You've already made it up.
I think it's a bit unfair that you're demanding that this random
Exactly. We demand evidence. Yep. Demand evidence.
This random thing that you brought up that somehow I have to hop, skip.
See, you're just going to continue to make stuff up.
No, this is kind of silly, man.
You've already been disproved. You're just making stuff up. No, you're the one. Now you're lying. Now you're having a siege. Everything you brought up your religion. That's the point. You can't do anything. There's nothing for you to show for it. You're the one that said, I could do it myself and sequence the DNA like a typical psychopath. You've never done it. You're just lying and making stuff up. Yeah, that's not Neanderthal bones. Bro, you live in a fantasy. Okay, you've lost your mind. You live in a fantasy and you're trying to justify some weirdo lifestyle. That's what evolutionists do. You have no claim, no evidence, no citation. It's never been done. You can't even name a person who's done it. It's that simple. You're just making shit up.
I told you I could get the citation.
We're still waiting for a name. You don't even have a name. There's no name. There's no, like I said 20 minutes ago, you won't even be able to reference a citation for this information. You still can't do it.
Is it your job to sequence viral genomes, even though I think those are nonsense, but that is your job, not Neanderthal genomes, right?
But yeah, what does that have to do with Neanderthal bones? It's a psychosis. You got caught making shit up.
I've sequenced before.
Bro, you've lost your mind. It's too late for you, Jay. Sorry. You can't. You never will. You still have
You're
no
just
name.
not letting me speak.
Yes, because
so-
you're perversely lying now. You actually deserve probably some shock therapy, to be honest with you. Because you have a mental disorder, a heart condition, well, now you're just perversely lying and making stuff up. And that's what you're stuck doing. Every evolutionist is stuck. Yes, you're spreading a child abuse religion and lying to do so. Yes, you people are nuts. You're schizophrenic psychopaths that literally make shit up to justify your religion. If any of you people were honest at all, you would say, let me get that information for you. Instead, you're so psychotic and so perverted, you say, I can just do it. Like a typical retard that thinks he's God. The reason you hide from God is because you think you're God. You think you can do magical mystery sorcery that nobody else can, but the guy on the internet that has nothing to show for it, he can do it. Typical New Age psychopath. Thanks for being the greatest evidence I could ever ask for. I was impressed it lasted longer than 25 minutes, Shane. Thanks.
I mean, I think the only
So
way forward is to do
this-
30 seconds back and forth. You got to let him speak, XO, right? Otherwise, we can do open discussion if you want.
Yeah,
But
otherwise just open
gotta let him-
the floor, because I don't need to be lied to anymore. It's already over. He just keeps lying now. So open the floor. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Open. I'd rather.
Yeah,
talk
he's
to
never done
someone
it.
who's
Yeah,
not
you've never
so
done it.
angry.
Right. You've never done anything you're talking about. You've never touched a Neanderthal bone, and you never will. Neanderthals are people, just like there's Chinese people, just like there's different cultures of people all over the world, and they're all men and women. That has nothing to do with evolution anyway. Neanderthals are people. There's black people in Africa. There's white people in Switzerland. None of that has anything to do with evolution. Just as I predicted 25 minutes ago, you still can't even give an example of evolution except in the imagination of your fairy tale, which is where the only place that evolution exists, in the imaginations of people hiding from reality. And that's why you resorted to, I will be the Superman and I'll do it, even though it's never been done. So I rest my case. You have to lie in order to justify this religion. There isn't even a claim in this conversation for any evolution. It's just what you imagine, just as I predicted. And it requires the reason why people need this religion is to hide from morality. All these discussions about outer space and shapes of things have nothing to do with the reality that these people are using those conversations to hide from their evolution fantasy, which is the foundation of most of New Age satanic culture, which is this, just imagine it, just make up shit as you go along, and that's evolution, and that's exactly what this guy's done. Thanks.
Yeah, so the study was done by Martin Petter and his group. I could provide you the link to it if you would
Yeah,
like.
congratulations. You used the Google search. Yes, we can all find the names of people that also make up shit just like you did it, and there still is no evidence for any of it. There's no DNA being taken out.
Evidence
You don't even have a claim. It took you 5 minutes to find the person that actually agrees with you. You don't even know who you're talking about. Anybody can go on the internet, and I can go into a Scientology website, which is the exact same thing, and get the names of people that make up shit just like these people do. It's just other weirdo perverts hiding from reality that also make stuff up and then write it in journals and say that's evidence. That's not evidence. You just proved the fact that you didn't even know the name until after you Googled it. So thanks for proving my point.
Oh no, you were kind of just speaking over me constantly when I was saying.
Yes, because you started lying. Yes.
Link if you
you said you were going to do it. You said you were going to do it, which is just a perfect example of how psychotic you people are. You've never done anything when it comes to that topic at all. This is something you imagine. You've never done it, but you think you can perform a magical fairy tale that you can't even explain. It's just in your imagination, just like when you said earlier, allele frequencies. Allele frequencies guarantees it stays the same. That's why they've literally converted and changed the terminology and the definitions of evolution in the past 50 years, because as we progress in knowledge, everything in reality, which is about biology, everything in biology depends on no adaptation, let alone evolution happening. That's why you don't have a claim, and you'll continue just to murmur around and make shit up to justify your evolutionist lifestyle. You'll never even be able to show any evidence whatsoever.
Okay, are we going to let him respond this time?
Probably not.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Jace. I'm not in the debate, so I'll moderate it.
Well, everything in biology is about adapting. I don't know how you could make that crazy claim that nothing's adapting in
you're
biology.
An absolute retard. You're an absolute retard. Sorry, everything in biology depends on it already having the function. Again, these people are possessed by demons. They don't have a claim. You just escape the shit.
Dude, can you let him get his chance?
No, not really. No, you can ban me if you want. That's the normal thing to do.
I'm
Just
not
ban
going
me.
to ban you. I'm just asking you to act
No,
like
I don't know. If
oh,
someone's just going to continue to lie and make shit up when all of biology is dependent on the system already being there, not because it's going to need it, it's already there. This is the psychosis of these people. My point is that the conversation's over because he's just going to continue to lie and make shit up. It's just going to be a mantra of making shit up, and I'm not going to be involved in a conversation talking to some weirdo that's just going to continue to perversely make shit up. So thanks for having me, Shane.
well, you're not even letting him speak, so how would you talk with him?
I know, like, why did you even agree to talk, dude, if you're just, like, this angry about it?
Yeah, he left.
Yeah,
Well, that last